Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim, and our guest today is Chris Gronkowski. So, Chris, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us what you do for a living and where you live.
For sure. What's going on, everyone? My name is Chris Gronkowski. I am the CEO of a company called Ice Shaker. We've been around for about 6.5 years now. Got our start early on by getting onto ABC Shark Tank, landing a deal with Mark Cuban and Alex Rodriguez, and kind of took off from there. So we sell insulated bottles, anything from a 1-gallon jug now down to a 12-ounce kids cup at this point, but started as a shaker bottle company to make protein shakes and has just grown from there. And we currently are located in South Lake, Texas.
Awesome. So, how did you get the idea to start this company?
Well, it was a summer like this summer where it was just ridiculously hot outside. And I came home after work one day. I grabbed a plastic shaker bottle. I went to my local Lifetime Fitness over here in Colleyville. And the bottle, by the time I got there, it was sweating everywhere. I took a sip out of it. My water was warm and it tasted awful. And it kind of hit me at that point, like there's got to be something out there that's insulated that can keep my drink cold, but could also mix and blend powders. So I went home that day figuring, I'd just jump on Amazon or on Google. And to my surprise, I finally thought of a great idea that no one had actually done yet. And at that point, I really wanted to kind of figure out how to create it and kind of started that journey right at that point.
So, can you talk a little bit more about being on Shark Tank? Like, what was that process like, and how much did it actually help your business?
Yeah, Shark Tank's legit. It's a real deal. I got on it super early in the business, so I think it helped me the most because I was so early on. And you can get so much further on with all the exposure from the show. So it was about 6 months in when we actually filmed for the show. The process it's intense. I got lucky that I actually had an email from a former agent when I was playing in the NFL, and they were asking for any former NFL players to jump on the show. So I ended up saving that email. I wrote back to it like 5 years later. It was absolutely ridiculous that I even responded to it that long after I got it, but got a response back. I made a video. I submitted the video, and there was definitely some interest there. So I then had to go through those steps of showing them that the company was legit and that we were a real product. And that point kind of had to go through a bunch of different steps to finally get to the filming out in California. So I got there, filmed, and then it's just like another waiting game. You still don't know if you're going to actually air. You don't know when you're going to air. And you're just kind of hoping that you actually do air because not every episode airs. So pretty intense experience, but definitely worth it.
So, before it airs, do they not tell you ahead of time? Like, you're about to probably get all these orders when it's going to be on TV, and they don't let you know when that's going to happen?
I always wondered that before because I was a big fan of the show, and I'd watch the show and I'd see people sell out of stock, and I'm like, why would you ever sell out of stock when you have this huge moment to just absolutely crush it? So I ended up finding out that they don't tell you if you're going to air until 2 weeks before you air. So that's a big gamble. I mean, if you're a small company and you don't have that much cash flow and end up stocking up, say a year's worth of inventory for this massive moment, but the moment never comes, that hurts. Like that's a tough thing to go through. So a lot of companies will play it safe. They'll try to cram in as much as they can in 2 weeks, but unfortunately they're going to sell out. But they do get pre-orders. They do find a way to somewhat recoup some of that at least. And then you always have the reruns too, so you can always kind of get a little bit of juice from those reruns as well. But overall, that 2 week window, it's really tough to get ready for a show.
For sure. So, can you talk a little more about, because you play like in the NFL, right? So, what has that, playing in the NFL, how has that prepared you to be a CEO of a company?
Man, so I mean, when I was playing, I never thought about even running a company at that point. I didn't know if there'd be much crossover when I started. And I mean, the truth is the day-to-day and everything you learn as a football player doesn't really transfer over. I mean, the skills I'm learning as a player is, how to hit a guy, how to study a playbook, how to catch a football. Those are the physical skills that I'm learning. I am at the same time mentally learning discipline and waking up early and putting the work in. So, of course, that mental side of it transferred over. it's kind of a grind. It's a similar grind. It just doesn't have that same physical aspect to it. But the big thing that comes from it is really the structure in the organization that you don't realize that you're in until you leave it and you go into the business world. So everyone in that locker room's there for one reason, that's to win a game. That culture is kind of built into it. When you get in the real world, everyone's not in it to win it. That's for sure. A lot of employees are there to make a paycheck. You really have to build that culture to be a winning culture. So I had to go back and kind of think about it and really kind of study what the locker room feel was really like and how it got to that point, and then kind of build that same structure out in the business. I also learned that I can't be every single position either. You have a head coach, you have assistant coach, you have players, all for a reason. The head coach is not the running back. He's there to coach. So as the founder of the company, as the CEO of the company, I was doing everything from customer service to mopping the floor still at that point. So realized about 3 years into it that to really get to that next level, to really make this a championship team, everyone has to know their role, and the roles got to be delegated out. I do have to release some of my roles to other people that are great team players as well, so that they can excel in those positions as well. So it's hard to, as a founder and as someone that's super competitive, to kind of let things go and let other people do it. But if you want to get to that next level, you gotta make it like an NFL locker room, and you got to build that structure.
So, like after a big change, like after a football player, you switch to a business, and in this whole transition, have you ever faced any challenges?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, everyone thinks you make a product and it's the greatest thing ever, and it just takes off. I was happy I was a little bit naive about that as well, because I ordered 10,000 bottles and I sold about 2 in the first week. So a lot of challenges. I mean, it's an absolute beatdown as an entrepreneur. You are able to set your own schedule, but at the same time, your schedule never ends. Pretty much all day, every day, everything you do revolves around the business, especially early on. So challenges for sure. I mean, the biggest challenges for me were kind of finding and figuring out how to turn it off, especially when I had kids. How do I actually step away? How do I actually have family time? That was a challenge for me, because I always felt like I was behind and I had to keep catching up. So building a team and kind of delegating those responsibilities was very difficult for me. It almost came to the point where I was forced to do it because of a pandemic and because I had a third child at the same time. So I physically could not be there, mentally couldn't be there as well. So I was kind of forced to find a solution there. And that was finally the first time I really started building a team and looking at it that way. So challenges every day. It doesn't stop. I mean, you start this thinking that you're going to be building a cool protein shaker, and the next thing you know, you're on a scissor lift, changing out lights in a so I learn something new every day, and there's a new challenge that comes across my plate every week. But ultimately, as an entrepreneur, you're kind of just the ultimate problem solver. If you're good at solving problems, you're going to be good at running a business.
Yeah, as far as you are learning something new every day, you are progressing, and you are going in a good direction. That completely makes sense. So, what's the role of technology in your business? Because in online, especially when you are selling something online, technology is an essential part of it. So, what's the role right now of technology in your business?
The role of technology currently,
Yeah.
I mean, it's massive. Everything we do revolves around it. I mean, if our internet shuts off for the day, it's a dead stop for us. I mean, all orders are coming through online. All the printing, shipping softwares is online. Inventory tracking, all that is through there. But technology itself, with social media and email marketing and everything we do, really runs through that. That's a huge pipeline for us. So the tech side's huge. I mean, we have countless apps on our website now at this point. You got to scroll down to see them all, because we have something for everything at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's such a different game now than it used to be, where to get in front of people, I'd have to go knock on doors or do trade shows, and now I can really just run a lot of Facebook ads. Instagram's absolutely huge for us. Put a bunch of posts up, get product into influencers' hands, and you're reaching millions of people a month at this point.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So, how do you engage your customers, and gather feedback to continuously improve your product and services?
Yeah, so we do a couple of things. I mean, we ask for reviews. That's the big way to get feedback. And a lot of our product lines have actually been built on pretty much exclusively our customers' feedback. So started as a single protein shaker. People asked for smaller, we made smaller. People asked for bigger, we made bigger. People asked for more of more colors, we made more colors. People asked for just a smaller, just kind of drinking vessel, we made a smaller tumbler. People started asking for bigger jugs, because it was getting hot outside. They needed water for their kids' games. We actually created our jug from a customer's feedback saying, hey, right now, the only jugs on the market have these twist off caps, and my younger kid can't pick it up and drink out of it. It's too heavy. So we came in with a dual lid with a built-in straw on it so that, my 6-year-old could bring it to his baseball games with him and drink out of the straw and still twist that cap off if he needed to chug out of it or fill one of his teammates' cups up. So feedback has been absolutely huge. And we're just getting that by sending out emails asking for feedback. Other ways is if we want to, we do surveys. We just recently did this with our NFL licensing. So we wanted to do a couple different designs to see how people engage with a couple different NFL designs. So we'll send out different surveys to really dig in deep with some of our top customers to see which designs they like as well. So surveys have been a powerful tool for us as well.
Yeah, that's great. So there's a lot of human effort involved in it in this whole process. So have you ever used AI for to improve your processes, or you have any plans to use it, or how AI is playing a role in your business?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely helping with content creation. So like blog writing, ideas for social, emails, all that kind of stuff. It's even come down to helping me writing contracts. I will use ChatGPT to write contracts or at least get them started, and then review them from there. So anytime I run into an issue where it's like, hey, this is going to take me a couple days, I start with AI. Our NFL business proposal, the business plan for it started with a simple, talk with ChatGPT, writing, hey, I'm looking as a company ice shaker, I'm looking to put together a business plan to propose to the NFL to get the NFL licensing. And that's how my business plan started for them. This proposal probably would have took days for me to write up and submit myself, but it took 45 seconds to have a pretty detailed outline that I had to just go in and kind of tweak at that point. So AI is definitely taking a lot of man hours out of it. It's something where I think it's a really good guide. I think you still have to go in though at this point and really perfect what they're giving you, but saves hours of time, if not days at this point. And when you're stuck, it's kind of like the ultimate solution. Like, hey, I don't know the next steps. I haven't done this before. I don't know where to start. It's like, all right, I know where to start now. I'm going to ask this exact question and see what the AI says back.
Cool. So in terms of AI, have you looked at other ways to utilize AI in terms of scalability? I mean, obviously, you mentioned that you're a pretty lean team. So, have you thought about those, like on your website, or, have you looked into those things?
I know we're currently working with an app that's more of like suggesting products kind of app right now that we're adding to the website. So if you go to the site, the AI is kind of figure out where you're searching, what you're looking at, what colors you're looking at, and then it's going to suggest certain products to you. So that's we're doing a whole new website build out. We're looking to launch it September, October of this year. So we are looking into more and more just kind of AI apps that will help us out on the website.
Awesome. So you mentioned social media. So has that been your biggest channel of reaching new customers, or Google Ads? Like, what has been the most effective for you so far?
Definitely social media. The reach is just insane. You can get a CPM of $6. You can reach 1,000 people for $6. Like, that's so hard to do anywhere else. At that point, really, it's up to just creating attention-grabbing content. How do I actually get that person's attention when I put this impression in front of them? So you can't beat that. I mean, for $6, it's hard to do, but really at the end of the day, I think some of the most powerful stuff that we do though is just events. The events are huge. When you meet someone in person, you shake their hand. It's somebody that's going to remember that experience forever. You really get to tell them about the product. They get to see it. They get to touch it, feel it. And then they're going to tell the story. You know, they hear the story. They go and they tell a friend the story. They tell another friend the story. They become fans of the brand. So I like doing different speaking engagements. That gives me an opportunity to have someone's attention for 30 to 45 minutes and tell the story and how I built it and all my lessons that I've learned from it and help them along the way as well. And then we like to do just events in the community, local pickleball tournaments. We're doing a fundraiser for the youth football program, all stuff that introduces not even sometimes not even 100 people, but maybe 50 people, maybe a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand to the brand. But it's a powerful experience because they're there experiencing it themselves in person and getting to meet and shake everyone's hand. So social media for the reach is amazing. And then just live events, in-person events, it's just a powerful tool to really, for us, we consider it just dominate locally. Like we want to dominate our local community and then just let it spread from there. So how do we get in front of as many people locally as possible and let them kind of spread the word for us? And that's by doing these local events like the pickleball and charity events that we're doing.
So are most of your events around DFW? And also, I was curious, like, if your brothers are involved, if Rob or anybody else involved with any of your events, or helps out with Ice Shaker.
Yeah, for sure. So we try to do most of our stuff local. It's hard. I mean, we'll do trade shows and stuff, and we'll fly to those. But if we're going to do an event, we try to do it local because it's a lot of work, especially to bring product and setups and people and hotels and travel and all that. It just becomes really expensive really quickly. So we try to also give back to the local community as well. So when we're doing local events, it does give us the opportunity to raise money and donate it back to great causes. So we try to do everything local. Do the brothers get involved? For sure. I just got back from a Visit Myrtle Beach campaign where it's actually Visit Myrtle Beach and Stand Up to Cancer. We partnered with both of them with Ice Shaker, and Rob and I were just doing the Ice Shaker games in Myrtle Beach, I guess is what you call it. Where we were just competing in a bunch of different beach games to help raise awareness for both causes and for the brand as well.
So speaking of your brothers, you guys were in Family Guy. What was that like for you?
Oh man, that was the ultimate experience. So you got to do a full, like you got to do it professionally, right? For your sound check. So they ended up renting out a full studio here in Dallas for me because I wasn't in LA at the time. I couldn't make it when everyone else recorded. So they set up a studio. I think it was like a couple hours that they booked for it. Got a sound guy, went in the sound room, recorded all this stuff, and probably took me like an hour. And then when it came out, I had one word in the entire show, and that was "Hey." So that was it. So I got one word out of all that. So after an hour recording, they used one word. So that was my experience. And then I got to watch the episode. It was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, that's how it went down. Like I had really no other involvement besides that. And I got my one word. I still get paid for it today. Like you get royalties on every word that you said. So if I had like 10 words, I would have made some decent money. But every year I get a check for like $30. And I guess the first year was actually like a couple hundred. So for saying one word, I got like a couple $100 the first year. After that, from the reruns, I get like $30 a year.
Cool. So in terms of Ice Shaker, what would you say is your top priority? Like you mentioned the website, you're making some change, but in the next 3 to 6 months, like what is your top priority?
For us, I think it's continuing to build out the team. We have some really big partnerships already going down. The NFL licensing is one of them. We're bringing in a lot of really cool new bottles. So really for us, I think it's more building out our team, making sure we're in a really good spot to continue to grow and support what we already currently have. A lot of it is just kind of continuing to do what we do. If we do it at a high level and we continue to do it, we continue to network and build relationships and have events and dominate locally and continue really on the same path we're on. There's so much more room to grow. I mean, we could leave our warehouse. I could walk down the street. I can ask 10 people if they've ever heard of Ice Shaker before. And I might be lucky if one person says they have, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, we've sold millions of bottles at this point, but there's still so much more out there. And that's just right here in the DFW area alone. So I think we can continue down this path without really having to really innovate that much more until we saturate the market more and continue to dominate what we're doing. So we've came out with so many products in such a short period of time. We just launched a speaker bottle with a collaboration with Bumpbox. We have a really cool partnership coming out with Pit Viper, a sunglass company, as well, where we'll sell a pair of sunglasses with a bottle and do a limited edition bottle with them. But partnerships, and then just continuing to kind of dominate with what we're doing is kind of the game plan for this upcoming year.
For sure. So what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this entrepreneurship journey?
Biggest piece of advice, I would say hire earlier. It's hire as soon as you can, really. It's going to stop you from growing. I mean, if you want to grow and get to that next level, and you want to actually have a life and it'd be able to do something on the weekend, you got to hire people. You got to let it go. You got to let those responsibilities go at some point. And really, at the end of the day, like, you want your company to run without you there. You know, if it can run on its own without you there, you're doing your job. You're doing it the right way. And you're also able to then take vacations and grow your company, really, at the end of the day. If you're not doing the day-to-day, if you don't have to be there, that means you're putting your time and efforts into things that are going to continue to make it grow significantly. So that's definitely my advice, and advice I received and didn't listen to myself, but my dad multiple times told me over and over to start hiring. And it just took me a lot longer to do it than I should have.
Makes sense. So if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you expect things to go for Ice Shaker?
Man, I think, and it's kind of been the same path we've been on, but we've grown every year. We'll continue to grow, I think, every single year as well. I think it kind of sticks to similar to where it's at now. You come back, hopefully our NFL partnership is full steam ahead. Our other partnerships that we've done, hopefully will continue to do really well for us. And we'll just continue to launch kind of newer colors and keep it updated that way. But overall, just look for new partnerships in the space and continue to network.
Awesome. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you or to Ice Shaker, what's the best way for somebody to, like social media handles or website, if you don't mind sharing that?
Yeah, for sure. Please do. We do a lot of custom bottle. I mean, we've been so successful because we are able to customize, and we turn products around in 3 to 5 business days, and we're doing thousands of custom bottles a week at this point. So if someone's looking for just a bottle for themselves, check out iceshaker.com. If you're looking for a custom bottle with your logo on it for an event, for a trophy, anything like that, just hit us up, info@iceshaker.com, or just hit us up on our contact page on our website, or hit us up on social media. It's just @iceshaker, or hit me up at just Chris Gronkowski, just my name. I'm on pretty much every platform, so pretty easy to find me, just my full name. And whatever your favorite platform is, I'm probably on there.
Chris, well, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully we can chat again in 1 year from now as Ice Shaker continues to grow and scale.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
Thanks. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend. Take
Thanks,
care.
you too. Thanks. All right.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.